Hello everybody, welcome in. My name's Trevor Lane for LakersNation.com, and today we're talking about trade season. That's right, trade season is already upon us. Look, the Lakers have had a phenomenal season so far, but could they be making their team even better before the trade deadline? As of December 15th, most of the league is now eligible to be traded. All those guys that signed new contracts this last summer were not eligible to be traded until December 15th. There are a few exceptions, like the Lakers' Alex Caruso, who won't be eligible to be traded till next month, but most of the league is now eligible to be traded, and that means the discussions are going to pick up. That means the rumors are going to start heating up, and what I want to do today is break down exactly what situation the Lakers are in and what they're going to be looking to do on the trade market. So we're going to dive right into it. But first, quick shout out to our sponsor, Uptime Energy Drinks. How energy should feel. Go grab some at 7-Eleven, GNC, and Amazon.com. I know heading into trade season, I'm going to need some Uptime Energy Drink to keep up with all of the rumors and news that is going to be absolutely flying in what should be an exciting trade season. Now, right now, your Los Angeles Lakers are doing a tremendous job. They're feeling strong. LeBron James and Anthony Davis are killing it. As of this recording, they are 24-3. So why would they want to make a trade when you've got guys like that? When you have guys like AD that are doing everything, LeBron James leading the way. The Lakers look like one of the best teams in the league. So why should they be one of the teams talking trade right now? Well, they're not perfect. They aren't. There's going to be teams around them that are looking to get better, and the Lakers should also be looking to get better. What do they need right now? Well, they mostly need two things. A wing defender. They need someone who can match up defensively with some of the more difficult high-scoring wings in the league. So that includes guys like Paul George and Kawhi Leonard could probably use another wing defender for matching up with them. We've seen a few games this season where Kentavious Caldwell-Pope has been forced to go play down a spot, and at 6'5", that's just a big stretch for him to try to defend a guy like Kawhi Leonard. So you could use another wing defender. You also could use a bench scorer. You need somebody who can come in and manufacture points when LeBron and Anthony Davis are not on the floor. I'm talking about kind of a microwave style guy that can just go out there and get buckets. The Clippers have one in Lou Williams. The Lakers could use somebody like that. Now, again, that doesn't mean they necessarily have to make that kind of a move. They don't 100% need to do this, but if you were to add those pieces to this team, you could argue that they would be an even stronger bet to win an NBA championship this season. And given LeBron's age, he's going to be 35 pretty soon here, and the fact that Anthony Davis, his contract will be up this summer, you want to do everything you can to go ahead and win right now, get yourself a championship. So if the Lakers can make a move, they need to make sure that they take a long, hard look at it. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Rob Pelinka and Coach Frank Vogel are going to have their work cut out for them if they're going to make a move, and figuring out exactly who to move is not going to be easy. But here's the big challenge. A lot of trades in the NBA see the wheels greased by picks. You see draft picks thrown in order to make up any sort of perceived discrepancy between two players. So, for example, the Lakers, in order to get Anthony Davis, they already had to give up Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, and Josh Hart. But are those three players equal to Anthony Davis? No. So they had to add in picks. They added in first rounders. They added in pick swaps and all these things. Well, because they did that, they don't have any other first round picks available to be traded. And they don't even have second rounders. But let's get into the first rounders first. Their 2021 first round pick goes to the New Orleans Pelicans, but it's protected 8 through 30. So that means that unless it's in the top 7, the Lakers actually keep their pick. But here's the thing, and this is what is stopping them from trading their 2020 pick. They picked from this summer, which would have been a nice asset to be able to throw into a trade. You attach that to a player, and you can maybe go get a better player. It certainly would have been in play if they could trade it, but there's something called the Stepien rule. Makes it so you can't trade consecutive draft picks. So since the Lakers, we know they're going to have a 2020 pick this summer, they can't trade it because their 2021 pick might be traded. Because it's unlikely to be traded. Most likely that pick will not fall in the top 7. The Lakers have been much better than that. But it is a 2021 first rounder that's protected 8 through 30. So that means there's a chance that pick's gone. So the Lakers can't trade their 2020 pick. They could trade it on draft night after they make the selection, but that doesn't help them in the here and now at the trade deadline. They also owe their 2023 pick swap to the New Orleans Pelicans in 2023. They could trade that to the Pelicans. By the way, in 2022, just to go back one, in 2022, their pick could go to the Pelicans as long as the Pelicans didn't didn't get it in 2021. So assuming the Lakers pick fell somewhere outside the top 7, which again is very, very likely, then their 2022 pick goes to the Pelicans unprotected, which then complicates things even further. In 2024, their first rounder goes to the New Orleans Pelicans, but they can defer that to 2025 if they want. So the Pelicans kind of control the Lakers draft future here. And because they have that pick swap in there in 2023, they can't trade that pick either. So really, the Lakers have no first rounders that they can attach. That's the big picture summation of what that all comes out to. The Lakers have no first that they can attach to any players in order to kind of grease the wheels of a trade. That's going to be a challenge, particularly when you've got other teams out there that have firsts available. Teams like the Clippers are going to be trying to make moves, right? That's a team that's going to be trying to make trades to maybe catch up to the Lakers. And a lot of teams are going to be looking for first rounders. The Lakers don't have them to offer. So that right there is a challenge for them to overcome. But it's not the only challenge. You also have a little bit of an issue with 3 particular players that are on the Lakers roster. Look, if they can't include firsts, and by the way, their second rounders have already been traded for the next 3 years as well, but you can't include first, so you're going to include players. Instead, you're going to try to offer enticing players in order to get a deal done. Well, guess what? The players that the Lakers signed this summer that had already been part of the team, I'm talking about JaVale McGee, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Rajon Rondo, they all have de facto no trade clauses. Now, no, they don't have official no trade clauses, but the way it works is this: because they signed 1-year deals with player options for the second year, the league looks at them as 1-year deals. And as a 1-year deal, if they were to stick with the Lakers, they would still have their bird rights, which means the Lakers could go over the cap to re-sign these guys next year should they turn down that player option. But if they get traded somewhere else, that new team will not have that option, which means that they would lose their bird rights if they're traded, and therefore the player has a chance to veto a trade. They can say, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to give up our bird rights. So for those 3 players specifically, JaVale McGee, Rajon Rondo, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, you would actually have to get their permission to trade them. So not only does Rob Pelinka go into this year's trade season with no first-round picks to offer, no upcoming second-round picks to offer, he also has 3 players who are eating up a decent amount of salary in McGee, Rondo, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope that he can't trade without their permission. And of course, it gets a little more complicated from there, like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Do you really want to go to KCP and ask him, hey, do you mind if we trade you to, say, Orlando or something like that in exchange for a piece that we really want, knowing that not only has KCP been with the team for a few years now, he's also a client of Clutch Sports, who is also the agency for Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Do you want to rock the boat there? Probably not. Anthony Davis is a free agent this summer, so it gets even more complex trying to figure out exactly who the Lakers can really trade. Now, with KCP, he actually gets a 15% trade kicker if he's traded, so he gets more money if he's traded. And given that he has that player option, and same thing with McGee and same thing with Rondo, should they decide they could make more money for themselves in the future by going somewhere else, maybe they'd be okay with the trade. But trying to get a guy to be okay with a team that right now looks like a championship contender is a pretty tough thing to do. That's a tall task. So those 3 guys in particular are going to be really difficult to include in a trade. And in particular, when you're looking at Kentavious Caldwell-Pope's salary, that could put the Lakers in a tough spot when they're trying to come up with a deal. Now, that doesn't mean that there's nobody that they can trade. There are still some options out there. For example, a guy like Dwight Howard, who's on a non-guaranteed deal. Now, is it likely they trade him? No, because Dwight Howard has done a tremendous job. But if a team really, really wants a non-guaranteed deal that they can just cut after making a trade, maybe that's an option there. He doesn't make a lot of money though, but that's something you can look at. A guy like Avery Bradley could be in high demand. What if the Lakers feel like they've got Alex Caruso, who can kind of play a similar role to Avery Bradley? What if they decide to just give more minutes there? Could you include Avery Bradley in a trade, or vice versa, include Alex Caruso? Now, Caruso can't be traded till mid-January, but maybe you can say there's a little bit of duplication there, and so you decide to pick one or the other. Again, unlikely. Bradley actually has a player option next year as well. So to an incoming team, he'd only be really a 1-year rental, and then he could hit the free agent market. And he's done so well for the Lakers. Again, it seems unlikely. If you're the Lakers in general, you're probably not going to be too aggressive on the trade market because things are going well. You don't have to make a trade or anything like that. But if there's a deal out there that works, and if there's a deal out there that can make them better and make them a more likely contender, they're going to have to take a look at it. Okay, now, moving on down the list here, the one guy that I've seen come up a bunch, and this is a name that's been brought up to me from Lakers fans nonstop, Kyle Kuzma. Could they trade Kyle Kuzma, the boy who lived, the guy who didn't get traded for Anthony Davis, the sole survivor, the one core piece from their young players that didn't get moved? Look, it's possible, but here's the problem. He only makes $1.9 million, so you'd almost have to attach him to someone else in order to get a salary equal to, or at least within 125% of a good player, somebody that you want to go get. Okay, let's say that they target a wing player that they really need, or they target a bench scorer that they really want to get, and they suddenly decide they're okay with moving Kyle Kuzma. Well, getting there salary-wise, matching salaries is going to be tough. It's going to be a challenge. But that said, the Lakers really like Kyle Kuzma. They hung on to him for a reason. They think highly of him. So I wouldn't look at this as, hey, Kyle Kuzma's had this slow start. I think the Lakers are going to look at Kuzma and say, he's been injured. He's had all these issues. We haven't seen him healthy this season, so we don't know how much he can contribute. And I keep going back to this. What if Kuzma gets back to full health? What if he gets back to the 15, 16 point per game score and you add that to this Lakers team that's already so good? That could be the piece that puts them to the next level, and that's something that the Lakers need to consider. Do you move Kuzma in order to get a piece that you think will take you to another level? Or do you put your faith and continue to put your faith in Kyle Kuzma, assume that his game is going to get back on track, and that him doing that will bring your team up to the next level? Because that would probably be the preferable route, given that he's on such a cheap contract. They still have another year of team control before they have to pay him more. Those are all things to consider there, and something the Lakers will have to take a hard look at. The other option is DeMarcus Cousins. Not played for the Lakers. He's been injured with that ACL issue and probably will not play a game this season for them. So with that being the case, do you take his $3.5 million expiring salary and use that in a trade? Now, if there's anybody that they're going to put into a deal, it would seem like Cousins is the most likely, because you don't have to give up anything in order to, anything off the floor in order to move him. You could use his salary in a trade. Maybe you throw in a guy like a Quinn Cook, okay, who only has $1 million guaranteed next year, or you throw in like a Troy Daniels or somebody like that. You combine those two salaries and maybe you can make something work. Okay, that's possible. But again, Anthony Davis, good friends with DeMarcus Cousins, probably would like to see him back next year, get a crack at joining the Lakers and actually having good health next season. He's probably going to have to sign with the veteran minimum somewhere. And really, if I'm the Lakers, I'm looking at this saying, if DeMarcus Cousins is going to play for some team for the vet minimum next season, we'd like it to be for us, because then you're getting something out of him, and there's a pretty decent chance that he exceeds that value. Even if he isn't 100%, DeMarcus Cousins is such a good player that if he can get anywhere close to healthy, even if he's 80% of what he was, he's worth more than a veteran minimum deal. So certainly something to keep an eye on there. They have kept DeMarcus Cousins in the fold. He's been part of the team, but again, something to keep an eye on. Maybe that's the contract they move. Certainly if they go the buyout route and you can go pick up a guy like, say, an Andre Iguodala on the buyout market, then maybe Cousins is the guy that you cut in order to bring in Iguodala. But looking at the trade market, he could be a piece that you look to move as well. Now, beyond just Boogie and everybody else that we've been talking about here, the one thing you have to keep in mind when we're looking at the Lakers trade prospects is who's coming back. Because that's going to be really key here, because you have to look at that salary coming back and make sure that it doesn't interfere with this guy named Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yeah, Kostas Antetokounmpo's brother, right? Giannis is obviously an MVP. He's a guy who can do everything out on the basketball floor, and he happens to be hitting free agency as of right now. He could sign an extension with the Bucks, but he is going to be hitting free agency in the summer of 2021. That also happens to be when the Lakers have a lot of salaries dropping off the books, and I don't think that's a coincidence. That's why Danny Green is signed to a 2-year deal. Avery Bradley has a 2-year deal. JaVale McGee, Rondo, KCP, on and on and on. Their contracts end after 2 seasons. That's it. And again, the summer of 2021 is looking pretty good. So if you decide that you're going to want to go after a guy like Giannis, and by the way, LeBron James has a player option for $41 million there. You could have a Lakers roster that has LeBron James if he picks up his option, which isn't a given, but if he does, and Anthony Davis, who if he re-signs with the Lakers this summer, assuming that happens, you could have those two players and then clear cap space after that and use that to go after a guy like Giannis. Now, that may still not be enough. It depends on where the salary cap is sitting. They would have a lot of open roster spot charges and things like that and other moves that they make between now and then. So it's possible that they may not have space for Giannis. But if you're trying to free up that space, and if you don't know if LeBron is coming back, and by the way, if LeBron is coming back, that isn't coming back, then it's almost certain that they'll have the space to go after a Giannis or somebody else. If that is going to be your big selling point to Anthony Davis, to say, look, give things with LeBron a little bit more time as LeBron starts to age out. We're going to have the cap room to go chase the top guys, which I think is going to be part of it. The Lakers proving to AD that it's not just about winning right now, which they can do, but it's about winning in the future as well, and that they have the cap flexibility to do that. Well, that means that you're not going to go trade for a guy like a Kevin Love, who still has multiple years left on his deal, a guy like a Chris Paul, whose deal runs past that 2021 spot. So when we're looking at Lakers trades, you probably want to look at it as looking for guys who just have 2-year deals. So again, that complicates things even further. Not only are you limited in the players that you can trade out, okay? Not only are you limited in the fact that you can't add picks into it, but you're also limited in that you probably don't want to find deals that go longer in 2021 unless it's a clear no-brainer, unless it's a guy that you can say, okay, this player can be part of our core moving forward, and with this guy and AD in the fold, we're going to be contending for championships. If they have an opportunity to get that kind of player, then yes, you go ahead and you break that rule, but otherwise, I'd be surprised to see the Lakers take on salaries going beyond 2021, because check it out. Beyond just Giannis, you could have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George could be free agents that summer. Imagine that, stealing some players from the Clippers. Drew Holiday, Rudy Gobert, Mike Conley, who hasn't been great this season, but still, Victor Oladipo. It's a fairly deep summer class. And again, you're going to be selling to Anthony Davis that the Lakers can pick up some of these guys, that they'll be a player during free agency that year. So that's an interesting thing to consider as well. A lot of factors here, guys. A lot to factor in, a lot to consider when we're looking at what the Lakers are going to do. Do you go and get the piece that's going to put you over the top right now and sacrifice that cap space moving forward? Do you give up assets in the near term? Do you give up a Kyle Kuzma, who is probably going to be a better player next year than he is right now, and the year after that will be even better? He's going to continue growing because he's a young player. Do you give up pieces like that now in order to land somebody that can help you win this season? Big question for Rob Pelinka. And again, because of all the reasons I just outlined, he's kind of competing here with his hands tied behind his back because he doesn't have those first-round picks to use. He's got the restrictions in terms of players that he can trade. And then you've got the salary cap ramifications of trying to take on any kind of long-term deal. But hey, Pelinka has shown to be very, very resourceful in the past. He's been very good at getting things done and finding ways to make things work. Remember, it was just a few months ago when everybody said Rob Pelinka blew it. He clearly doesn't understand the salary cap. There's no way the Lakers can afford Kawhi Leonard. And then he made moves to be able to afford Kawhi. He made it happen, even though everybody said, oh no, he can't do it. He did it. Look, Pelinka has found ways to get things done. So I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls things off, but it's not going to be easy. So what do you guys think? Should the Lakers be a player on the trade market, or should you just keep the chemistry intact and keep the players that are on the roster right now? Let me know what you think. Fire off in the comments down below. And if you think they should pursue a trade, who do you think they should be looking to deal, and who should you be getting in return? Guys, make sure you follow Lakers Nation on Twitter and Facebook at Lakers Nation. Follow us at Lakers Nation Official on Instagram, and make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Get notified every time we have a new video right here on the Lakers Nation YouTube channel. Till next time, my name's Trevor Lane. You can follow me on Twitter at Trevor_Lane. See ya.